right, welcome back into the Prep Comms podcast. Hello, I'm Caleb Nelson, K4CD, and we're going to continue our very short mini-series here regarding FRS Radio. That's the family radio service we've talked about a couple of shows. You know, this is a service that we've mentioned before. The federal government allowed, air quotes, for the populace, the general populace to use, kind of like CB, but not nearly as robust as CB radio for distance, but works really good close in. So like your neighborhoods, your backyard parties, the park, maybe going to the shopping malls. We've used them at theme parks, all sorts of places. So it's not the end all be all, but really, I mean, guys, if you're a family and you're looking for something, you're listening and you're just like, oh, this is so confusing. I just want to be able to talk to my kids when they're not inside the house, or I just want to start somewhere. Well, this is it. I mean, sincerely, these things can be had for so little money. It's really like a no-brainer not to have a couple at your house. So we're going to talk about that today, like what works, what doesn't, and what you can trust. And I'll default at the beginning to remind you that this is a mechanical device. It operates with electricity and batteries and whatnot, so they're going to fail. They're not bulletproof by any stretch of the imagination, and they're not meant to be. That's why they're so affordable, and most everybody can afford at least one or two sets. So let's talk about it for just a few minutes here. Again, I'm Caleb. Thank you for coming by the Prep Comms podcast. If you're on social media, if you know this or not, I'm most active on Instagram and would like to have you join us over there. We post a lot during the day and have a pretty good time. We got a lot of great friends on Instagram. That's air quotes, but there's some good dudes and gals over there. Come check us out. So these FRS radios are everywhere. Speaking of, I sent an email maybe last week when you're listening to this in the present time, where I showed FRS radios at our local hobby mega store. You know, like we have a Hobby Lobby in town. We have two actually, and they're kind of like Michael's or whatever you may have. You know, just painting and decor and whatever. And in the STEM aisle, they had, you know, model rockets and paints and magnet kits and robot building sets and FRS radios for $15 a set. Now, you had to buy additional batteries. They required four AA's a piece. But the thing is, you can find these radios anywhere. We're going to talk about that as we progress today. So you got to kind of think about what's your goal with these radios? Why are you buying them? A lot of times you'll find that the ones at Hobby Lobby are the ones that may be a discount dollar type store that you find. Maybe even the ones at Walmart in the kids section, you'll find them maybe Buzz Lightyear or, I don't know, Lego or somebody. They're going to be very cute and fun looking. Maybe they're Barbie or whatever, but they're not going to be very durable. So, like, you can buy them for your kids, and your kids can play with them for a while, and they may last years, depending on your kids. But if they were, you know, rough and tumble kids, more than likely, they're going to beat them to death in about 2 hours. So the ones that are kind of made cute and chintzy for kids, they're going to be less reliable down the road. Now, I get it. Everybody wants to buy the fun one, right? Everybody wants the branded one that goes with their favorite action figure or gamer or whatever the kids like now. But just so you know, they're worth buying if you want them, but down the road, the durability may not be there. Another thing in regard, especially to those, is the batteries. Those usually come with fitted for a AA battery, and most of them take about 3 to 4 AA batteries, which is not a big deal until your kids leave them on in the drawer, and next time they go to use them, now they're digging through your battery cache. So it may be that you buy the cheaper radios and invest in some rechargeable batteries. You just have to teach your kids this stuff. I mean, I did. And down the road, they got it. It took a little while, but just make sure they don't throw the rechargeable batteries away. Don't ask me how. I know. They're not the same. Mark them. Make them look different. Buy them a different color. Don't buy the same brand batteries so that they stand out to your kids. That's just a little dad tip there. Here's the thing with kids' radios. They're going to be really easy to use. They're going to have a power button. They're going to have a transmit button and usually a volume channel knob. Most of them will all have that. Some will be set up differently where the button will be on the front or the button will be on the side. If these are for your kids, make sure they're easy to use. You don't make it any harder on them to contact you than whatever. But again, if they're branded for kids, if they look like their favorite action hero, they're going to be easy enough to use. One of the other things that you'll notice in these kid-style radios is sometimes the audio clarity is just not there. I mean, it might be that one of them sounds great and the other sounds like Charlie Brown's school teacher. And it's just because, again, the quality is not there and the focus was built on the design, the aesthetic, versus the actual use of the radio internals. Okay, so bear that in mind. I'm not trying to talk you out of buying the Buzz Lightyear walkie-talkies. I'm just saying buy those, let your kids use them, let them get used to having them around, but don't focus on those as a family. Like if you're a parent, a grandparent, it's fun to have those at your house, but buy yourself a nice set. Buy yourself a nice set of radios and have those around too, so that you and Papa can use them and keep up with the kids. All right. So also on these packages, if they're branded for kids, or even if you'll find them in the sporting goods sections, you'll see some of them will say these will talk 20, 30, 40 miles. Realistically, okay, this is UHF 440 type megahertz in there. You're going to get about half a mile, maybe in the woods, maybe. In a neighborhood, depending on the topography of your neighborhood, you'll get a mile, maybe, if you're lucky. Now, if you're out in the middle of the desert where there's nothing in the way, these things are so low powered, maybe a couple of miles, right? And that's with nothing in between either of you. Now, again, that's not to knock on the FRS radios. That's just to tell you, hey, these are not ultra performer radios that are going to talk across the country. Those don't exist in reality, but that's another story down the road. Listen, they're not going to talk forever. They're not made to talk forever. They're made for family use. And most people think family use is the nuclear family, the mom, the dad, and 1.5 kids, I think it is nowadays. I don't know how that works. And generally, they're in the same neighborhood, the same house, the same yard, the same whatever. So that's what these radios are really meant for, and they work great in that application. So you're gonna find, again, these you're gonna find them everywhere, and you're gonna have to make a decision on what you want to buy. Do you want to buy them cute for the kids, or you want to buy them to last? I say both, especially if you have kids or grandkids, maybe nieces and nephews. That way, they don't think, oh, this is some hokey looking Papa radio, this is cool. This is, I don't even know what's cool anymore, but this is it. This Star Wars. Okay. So you got Grogu and the Mandalorian walkie-talkies for the kids to play with. And then you have some Motorola's or some Redivus or some BTEC, something like that for yourself. You're immediately going to be able to tell the difference when you pick the toy one up versus a better quality. You'll be able to tell that they weigh different. You'll be able to see that the belt clips are going to hold better. Again, most toy sets are AA powered, and then the better end sets, you're going to find a rechargeable battery option. Sometimes they come with battery packs built in, and you can even buy, and I encourage you to, if you can find them, buy the additional spare battery pack, so you always have something to fall back on. Remember, if you have one rechargeable battery pack, and it fails, then you may as well throw your radio in the garbage. If you have a spare, now you're talking. Bad pun. All right, let's keep going. You'll also find that the toy ones are going to break easier, which is, I know it's nonsensical, but they do that, so you'll go buy some more. And the better quality sets, the $40, $50 sets, they're going to last longer. They're going to be able to take the beating that the toy ones can't. So my family and I work at a summer camp in Nashville, Tennessee, a couple of weeks out of the year, every year. They asked, hey, what are some radios we could use? I gave some suggestions. They decided on the BTEC FRS Alpha 1. It's linked in the show notes, by the way. And this is my primary pick for these radios. And the reason being is because they're using this particular radio to run the zip line. And that means they've got between 2 and 4 people working, talking to each other with these radios, and they're, college age, older high school kids, and they're not rough on this stuff. I mean, it's, 100 degrees outside. You got 30 kids at a time running the zip line. You're talking clear, go, send, whatever. And they're not taking them and laying them down nicely or anything like that. And so I say all that to say this. They bought them before camp started. They lasted the entire camp season, which unto itself is a miracle. And they're still going. Literally, I talked to John the other day. The radios are still going. And that's awesome because that tells you that these radios can take a beating. They USB charge. You can replace the battery packs. BTEC FRS Alpha 1, link in the show notes. I've got some other suggestions in our blog post in the show notes as well. And they go anywhere from not necessarily the Lego toy brand or, the Walmart blister-pack radios, a little tougher, but in the same price range. And I encourage you to check those out, especially if you got kids. Now, here we are in September of 2025 to date the show. September every month, some people don't know this, is National Preparedness Month. And this is the time where the federal government says, hey, you know what? Everything may not stay the same. So we want to encourage you to, maybe think about buying some stuff or preparing for something, maybe doing something in advance. And then they want you to forget about it for the other 11 months out of the year for some reason. But that's okay. That's okay. It is National Preparedness Month on Instagram. We're sharing stuff every day that may be a hint or a suggestion or whatever. We'll be blogging a little bit more this month as well, so make sure you check that out. And we finally got the replay of the Family Connect webinar up. So if you are here and you're looking for a system for your family, we've talked about these little entry-level radios over the last couple of shows. And now you're looking for some help to put a plan together to keep up with your kids, with the radio, or whatever. Family Connect webinar, the system webinar is up and playing. There's a link in the show notes as well as our blog. Make sure you check it out. Really excited about that. That's the actual sponsor of the program now. That is a online training that I've developed that is video, audio, all sorts of different mediums to help you and your family build a plan. You can check it out at familyconnectsystem.com. That's the commercial, by the way. So FRS radios, really, some are toys, some are not. Some are really well-built, like good little radios that you can get your hands on. And you just have to decide what you want. You can't look at the package to make, this one says 30 miles and this one says 37. No, buy the quality. This is funny. Buy one that's from a reputable dealer, or if you don't know a reputable dealer and you're on Amazon, check the reviews. It may have 5 stars, but if it's only one review, it doesn't matter. But if it's got 4.5 stars with 3,000 reviews, it's probably a pretty good radio. I put some of those in the show notes. One of the things that I found with these radios is it's everything. People want cheap. They want the lowest price they can get. I understand that. 5 kids, 1 income. Totally understand it. But sometimes you need to spend. And if you really want something that's going to last, maybe you guys hike a lot. Maybe you spend time at the racetrack and you need something that's going to be able to take a beating or, be able to put up with something outside. Motorola makes some really great waterproof FRS radios linked in the show notes. I mean, they're $100 a set, but they'll last. They will last. And they're built like in an almost industrial type quality. They're not very sexy and they're not very cool. Well, that depends on who's looking at it. But the fact is they'll last. So I want to encourage you to check those out. Anyway, here's the deal. We're going to continue one more show about FRS coming up next week. But here's the thing. FRS radios are the best place to start for a family who needs a two-way radio solution. There you go. I've said it. Now, we're going to talk about some better solutions in the future episodes, but if you don't have anything and you don't want a big CB radio and you don't want to make that investment for the antennas and whatnot for the MERS radios, or maybe you want something that's a little easier to obtain when your family goes to Target this weekend, FRS radios. You'll see them listed as FRS. You'll sometimes see them as family radios, sometimes low power radios. You know what a walkie-talkie looks like. So I was at Target yesterday. They've got them. I had to pick up a mouse pad, but they've got them. So don't fret. Amazon is full of options. We have them in our store. We have them on our links. They're everywhere. They're easy to find, and they're very inexpensive. So if you and your family need a two-way radio alternative method to communicate with each other, this right here is where to start. You don't have to go blow a bunch of money. No reason to spend a lot of money on this to start, okay? get your feet wet with something that's affordable and get the understanding. And I know that sounds kind of funny to some of us listening to this program, but guys, there are people out there who didn't grow up with walkie-talkies in their hands. They didn't grow up with dads who would go to Radio Shack and buy them stuff. Maybe they might not have grown up with a Radio Shack. So, everybody's in a different spot, and I'm just trying to convey that this is a really good place to start. All right, I'm going to go, but I'll be back next time. Remember the show notes. We're also on YouTube. You guys know you can watch or listen to the show on YouTube, so make sure you check that out. I know a lot of people like to get information over there, so thank you again for being here. It's always fun. Remember, the Family Connect webinar is playing right now, and the link is in the show notes. I'll be back next time. We'll finish up with FRS, and we're getting ever so close to the new CB radio GMRS. We'll see you next time, guys. God bless. 73, y'all.